Okay,
Take it away.
oh, sorry. Okay, I call to order the CCS Circulation Technical Group meeting on January 19th, 2024 at 9:31 a.m. So first on the agenda, we have the approval of the minutes for the last meeting. Does anyone have any changes or amendments to the previous meeting or previous notes from our last meeting? Okay, can I get a motion to approve?
I motion. Donna, Indian Trails.
Thank you, Donna. Can I get a second?
I second Michelle from Des Plaines.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, so before we start, do we have anything to add to the agenda? Okie doke. Well then, let's see. Officer reports. Anastasia, you have anything?
None.
Okay,
Oh.
me either.
I'm sorry, can we go back to approval of minutes? I'm sorry.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, we need, I need to talk about our delivery this morning from Rails and let the libraries know some things that, so.
Okay, I'll add that here. Rose and Donna. Oh,
Actually,
okay.
I should add something too. This is Karen from Glenview. I just
sure.
want to add to it any kind of policy that any library has about bugs or lice on books.
Yeah, for sure.
It's great, Dana.
Yeah, I know. Just thinking about it. It's the fun of the public libraries and bed bugs and lice and
Yeah,
all the
exactly.
fun stuff.
So can we add that? Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else? Okay, if anyone thinks of anything, just add it in the chat. But we'll move on to the CCF staff reports. First thing, updates from Mieko.
Yay. Deborah was not able to make it this morning, so I will be the only one giving updates today. The first thing I want to do is, where's my chat? I'm posting the link to the meeting sign-in sheets into the chat. So if you have a chance during the meeting to fill your name in, please do. Otherwise, I will email this out to the group after the meeting to fill in. And with that, let me share my screen. For our updates. Okay. So just a few things. For today. So the first one, I just want to remind everyone, or announce, I guess. Oop, I'm gonna just mute. There we go. The production upgrade to Polaris 7.5 has been scheduled for after closing for 10 p.m. on Monday, February 26th. So we will be publishing details in CCS News. And as always, we'll send reminders and important information through system status as we get closer to the end of February. The other update I want to give, so in November, we surveyed libraries about age-restricted materials. So I want to thank you all for responding and just kind of give an update and a little context about why we were doing the survey. So in addition to the ILS settings in 7.5, there's a new feature in there that would have allowed us to add like an age rule to checkouts based on material type. So for example, we could have said, a patron has to be 16 to check out a laptop, and Polaris would reference the patron's birth date to determine if the checkout should go through. So we thought this may have been a feature that some libraries would be interested in exploring. So we sent out that survey to see what your policies were, so we could use that in testing and make sure features could support those types of policies. Unfortunately, when we got our hands on the training database upgrade, we found that the age policies are a system level setting. So it's not something that we can apply like branch by branch. So not something we can use at this time. So again, just wanted to give you some information about why we were asking, what we are intending to do with that information. We'll definitely hang on to those survey responses in case the functionality develops more in the future. And it is something that we could test on a branch level. Probably the most exciting update, since our last meeting, governing board voted to accept Waukegan as a member. So Mount Prospect and Waukegan are joining CCS this year. We are currently wrapping up onboarding, and then we are going to be jumping into the project full force starting in February. So the go live date is scheduled for Tuesday, October 1st. And like all other migrations, we anticipate 3 to 5 days of an offline period leading up to go live, based on what time we need to like load, process, and reindex the library data. So the tentative offline date for CCS libraries is September 28th. We have a data load, our test data load into the training database scheduled for the second half of May. So at the end of May, once the training data load is complete, we'll then know how much time we'll need for the production data load at the end of September, and can finalize that offline schedule. So I know we have at least 2 staff here from the new libraries. We've got, just want to say welcome to Marilyn from Waukegan, and welcome to Janine from Mount Prospect. So thank you both for joining us. I'm so happy to have you. Another update, the circulation distribution emails are ready to use. So thank you for everyone for responding to confirm the email test work. Staff can begin using the distribution emails today. I will send an email to the circulation listserv to announce this as well, and include that link to the list of email addresses. So the list of emails is available on our website. There's the direct link on the slide. Again, I'll share it in the listserv email. You can also find the page under the how-to section for public services and just look at the circulation category. So then going forward, if you want to add or remove emails from the distribution list, just open a help desk ticket or email help@ccslib.org. And the final update, we just have some patron record cleanup that we wanted to highlight, and that is cleaning up cards for in-house use. So web reports excludes use statistics, so things like counting checkouts and check-ins from accounts with a patron code of in-house use. So if a card is meant for in-house use but has like a patron code of, say, exempt, it is counted in your statistics. So a cleanup activity is to check your in-house use cards. An easy way to do this is to look at cards with a stat class field of in-house use, just to see if they have the correct patron code assigned. Going forward, there we go. So a few ways that you can check.
Diego?
Yeah,
What was the patron code supposed to be on those?
in-house use.
Okay, but in-house use. Okay, I thought you said make sure that patron. Okay, I got it. Never mind. Sorry.
No, don't worry. Please interrupt with questions. Absolutely. So a few ways that you can easily find or identify these patrons. One is using the Leap Find tool. You can search for patrons using like the statistical class in-house use. And if your find tool is set up to display the patron code in the results list, and I'm going to show you how to do this during the demo later in the meeting, you can easily spot any patron records that have a different patron code. Open them up right away and make that fix. Another way that you can find kind of like these outlier patrons for cleanup is to use the monthly record counts by patron characteristics web report. This web report is found under the statistics section in web reports. And so this tool allows you to view a count of users based on record characteristics, one of which is by patron code and stat class. So like here, if you see a set of users with a stat class of in-house use, but a different patron code, right, you can click on that entry to view a list of those patrons and then like copy and paste their barcode into Leap Find tool to access and fix the record. So just some quick cleanup there just to make sure stats are reporting correctly. And I will turn it back to Dana.
Okay, so next, since you did Deborah's part, is old business. We don't have any. Um, so new business. Again, Miyako for the 7.5 Leap functionality for damaged circulation status.
So I've got a few slides just to introduce this topic. Then I'm going to do a demo, and then we will take the vote on whether we want to adopt this functionality or not. So giving some background here, right now, when libraries are working with damaged items, they may either manually mark the item as lost, or they will manually change the item's circulation status to damaged. Polaris, up until this point, Polaris has not come with like a native way of making something damaged. So what we've done is we've kind of like reappropriated circulation statuses to kind of manufacture a damaged option for us. So right now, if the library opts to use the damaged status, the item must be checked in and then available in order for staff to update that status. And this is done through the Manage Item Record tool at check-in or directly in the item's record. Then staff will apply the fee manually. And you may have encountered limitations with this method based on permissions or branches. So for example, you need to have item editing permissions in order to make updates directly in the item record. Or like if you just have general permissions and are using the Manage Item Record tool at check-in, in order to, let me just pop that down. Okay. You are limited based on the item's assigned branch. So for example, like a staff member who's logged into Evanston, Maine will not be able to update an item assigned to Evanston's Robert Crown branch using this method. So there is new damaged item related functionality coming with Polaris 7.5. And this functionality allows staff to declare an item damaged from a dedicated check-in tab or from the patron account, similar to making something lost. So taking this action, it will change the item's status to damaged. So one of the new things that's happening with this added functionality is that Polaris is finally adding a dedicated damaged circulation status. So using this functionality, it will change the item circulation status to damaged. It will automatically add a block message to the item record. It gives staff the option to charge the replacement cost. And it gives staff the option to generate a manual bill for the item. So we'll see here, there are like several different workflows that you can use with this new function based on what you want to do with the item and what you want to do with the fee. So I'm gonna stop sharing my slides and go into Leap so I can demonstrate these functionalities for you. So let me just get to my browser here. There we Okay, so starting off in Leap, I'm gonna first demo what this looks like from the patron record. And let me open up my test patron here. So the actions I'm going to take here, we'll see that it's going to change the circulation status to damage, and it will automatically add a block to the item record. It's going to give us the option to charge, waive, or mark the fee as paid. And if we're charging the patron, it's also going to give us the option to generate a bill for the patron. So the process is going to look exactly like when you're manually marking something as lost. You will go into the Patrons Out Overdue tab, select, let's see, we'll select one of the items. And then in 7.5, there's this new button called Declare Damage. When I click, that's going to open up a dialog box that again looks just like that manual lost dialog. And you'll see it allows us to say what action we want to take with the fee, whether the patron is paying for it right away, whether we're going to waive the fee for the patron, or if we're going to charge the patron. And then if I select the option to charge the patron, it will also give me the option to generate a bill. And to do so, I would just need to click this little checkbox for send a bill. So when you're declaring loss from the patron record, the bill is not an automatic thing that happens. You do need to tell Leap that you want to generate the bill for the patron. If you are generating a bill, the manual bill comes with a kind of a generic message here. Your library account has been billed for this charge. Staff do have the option to removing that and adding in a more custom message. Was returned, let's say, broken. And then as soon as I click OK, it's going to manage the fee based on what you told it to do. So I told it to charge the fee. So the fee has now been charged to the patron's account. And the nice thing is it automatically adds this declared damage note to the fee. So if staff are working with a patron and looking at fees, they right away know that the fee was related for a damaged item. Because I selected that checkbox to generate a bill for the patron, I have this little note under the billed column that a bill is pending. And that just tells me that this patron has been flagged for a bill. It has not been sent yet. So we've got the charge added there. I'm going to click into the item record just to show you what it looks like in the item record. The circulation status was automatically updated to damaged. Like I said, it adds a block to the item record. So as soon as I mark it damaged, it adds a system block saying the item is damaged. One thing you'll note here that's different from lost and claims is that the item does not appear then in the claims or lost tab. So Leap, when something is marked damaged, right, Polaris believes that like nothing's still pending for the patron to deal with for this item, so it fully removes it from the patron's record. So that is using the new damaged functionality from the patron's record. I'm going to pause for questions before I show you what it looks like from the check-in.
Okay.
Can you change the amount that's owed?
You are able to modify that. Just go in and declare something damaged again. So if you do want to modify the amount, you can adjust it before you apply the bill. So like if I just want to charge a patron, say like $10 for this DVD, it will allow me to do that.
Oh, I have a
does
couple of
the
questions. Sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, Julie, I'll
Okay,
take your
thank you.
questions.
I have a couple of questions. What if the item is not connected to a patron? And can we still change the status manually to damaged?
You can do that through check-in. So I'll show you that demo.
That's what I was gonna, I realized that. So it would have to be, it would have to be checked out to a card to declare it damaged. So if it's just on the shelf and we decide, oh, this doesn't look like we should be checking this out anymore. It's it's got something on it. We would actually have to check it out to an in-house card to be able to declare it damaged.
No, you will see when we look at using the check-in declare damaged, there is a feature there. You can just
check.
check it
Oh,
in and
I
it updates
see.
the status.
I see.
Yeah. So the
All
they
right.
definitely built the functionality in like several different ways to kind of apply to all the different situations you may be working with. If the item is checked out to patron, if you just like stumbled across it, if it came in through an AMH.
Okay, we have one more question. If it has a damaged status, say we have billed the patron, it's got damaged status, and the patron, we accept replacements here. So if they
Okay.
bring in a replacement, will we be able to change that damaged status to, when we replace it, when we put the new item into that record, or will there be another process for that?
So if you check the item in normally, it will clear the damaged status.
Right. Okay.
At that point, though, once you declare the item damaged,
Mm-hmm.
and if the patron has been charged,
Mm-hmm.
when you check something in,
Mm-hmm.
because there's already that separation between the item and the patron, that damage fee is not automatically going to clear.
Right. We would have to waive it, and then and then we send it on to tech services, and then they do a new barcode. They use the same record, but they change the barcode.
Okay.
So that's their issue. All right, thank you.
I see Michelle had her hand raised, so I'm going to take Michelle's question.
Thanks, Nico. Just making sure when we are able to now click that box that says create a bill. Next time we run bills, it will be in the batch. Okay. I
Correct.
just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything else funky we had to do. Thank you.
Okay.
And Rosalie, I saw you had your hand raised.
Yes, thank you, Mieko. Good morning. So I have my billing assistant Lourdes here with me, and she is asking if we don't hit the button, select the button to send a notice, will it automatically send in the regular cycle?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Because the declaring damage, I think the default assumption is that you're working with the patrons. The patron is already aware. So by default, it's not going to send the bill when using it through the patron record.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, I'm going to show you, you'll see something else then with the check-in.
Okay. Thank you,
So
Mia.
yeah. So let me know if you have more questions after we look at check-in.
Sure.
And then I'm going to take question from Donna.
Yeah, Miyako, so we've been using declared loss, so this will work the same as declared loss, right? Because we noticed before when we would put something into damage and manually charge, when someone used our self-checkouts, it wasn't coming off the member's account when they would pay through the self-checkout. So
Yeah.
declaring it damage and let the system do it, it'll let the system do it, and then we should be okay.
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I remember us looking into this, and it was because the item wasn't being checked in off the patron's records. They had like the fee on the record, but they still had the item on the record.
Yeah.
And that's why. So using the declare damage from the patron's account will act like the declare lost.
Okay.
So yeah. And I will also say too, if a library still prefers to use the declaring lost option, that works for you locally, you can continue to use that. This declare damage functionality will just kind of be a replacement for our current workflow for making an item a damaged circulation status. I'm going to pop in the chat. How do items marked as damaged get purged from the database? Do they have the same rollover schedule as items marked as lost and withdrawn? So a library needs to delete the damaged item record. So just like something is lost or if something is withdrawn, the record needs to be marked as deleted by the library in order to be purged from the database. When you declare an item damaged, does it still display in the pack? It will not. So we are able to specify which circulation statuses are suppressed from the pack, and damaged is one of them. And
So-
Michelle.
Sorry, another question. So we likely will not use the declare damaged feature, but I think it's a great idea. But we do use the declare lost, and for a second there I thought, did I miss that we could actually bill from there? And I just went into Leap, and it's is 7.5, is it going to upgrade it so that declare lost would also automatically, you could click that box to send a bill?
I believe you have the option to manually declare. I'm sorry, I've got my like Zoom toolbar here right in front of my dialog box. There we go.
It does say send a bill, but I just did it. Are you in the 7.5 version?
I'm in training.
Right. But is that
Yeah,
is that
I think-
7.5 training?
This is 7.5 training. I
Ah.
believe this option.
It's not in the regular,
It's
because I
not.
just did it.
Okay.
I just made something lost that I have checked out. Well, I was pretending to, and there's no send a bill. So we will be able to do that for declare lost as well
Yeah. Do
That's
you
awesome.
is the fee action set to charge?
now. It um it is, the action is set to nothing. You have to pick. And oh, I see what you're saying. So if I choose charge, no, it's still, I don't see
No.
that
Okay.
option. So no, that's good to know that that's going to be a new thing that we can do.
And then I heard someone else start asking a question.
That was probably me, but I think I know the answer. So damage and loss are the same, just a different word.
Yeah, typically we lost indicates like the patient doesn't have it, it's nowhere to be found. It's maybe will be returned later, who knows? And then damage is like it's out of circulation, it's waterlogged or cracked in half or what have you. Let's see.
Donna asked in
Does-
chat. Oh,
No, go ahead.
Does declare lost remove item from pack?
Yeah, I do believe we have lost as a suppressed status in pack. I'll double check the suppressed statuses when we get into the later parts of the discussion parts of the agenda. I'll stop sharing my screen and start poking around.
Miko, I have a question. When you ask it to send a bill, is it sending it the patron's preferred method, such as email, text? Okay, so it's not a paper bill, unless they've
not a
selected, yeah, unless that's their primary. Okay, thank you.
Exactly. It sends the exact
Okay.
same way. Good question. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to my check-in screen and show you the options for declaring something damaged from check-in. So there's like two different avenues that you can do with check-in. All of these are found under this new damaged tab in your check-in screen. The first thing I'm going to demo is the workflow where it's going to change that status to damage. It's going to add the block to the patron, or I'm sorry, the block to the item account. And then it's also going to add the charge to the patron and generate the bill notice for the patron. So this might be an option that you would use if, say, you have like an AMH and it got checked in, sorted, and then you find like, hey, this book is super water damaged. So let me just copy my test item here. So if I discover something has been damaged, and I want to update that status. I will scan it into the damaged tab. And here, when it pops up, it gives me two different options. One is to charge and notify. That's the one we're going to look at first. So again, with this option, we're updating the status of the item. The patron, the replacement cost is being charged to patron's account, and that bill notice is going to be generated for the patron. And then there is a note staff can add that will appear on the bill notice, and it's going to also appear in the item record. Item, so I'm just going to say item damage. And let me say okay. So the item has been checked in. I'm gonna click on the item to open it up. So again, we see we've got that circ status of damage. We've got the system block that's been added, and the patron's been charged. So I'm just going to pop over to my patron account again. And so here we've got just like that last time, it automatically charged the patron the replacement cost. The declared damage note has been added, and the bill is pending since the bill notice job has not fully run yet. Okay. So that's the first workflow that you can do from the check-in screen. The second workflow you can do from the check-in screen. Oh, I'm going to pause and just look at. Will 7.5 be available to all libraries in training mode to demonstrate to their staff prior to the rollout? Yes, 7.5 is the training database is updated to 7.5. All staff have access to the training database. You can find the link on our website if you need it. Okay, so the second workflow you can do here is purely updating the item's circulation status. So this would be perfect for the scenario that Julie mentioned about like you're in the stacks and you just found something that you don't want to circulate anymore. So here, again, I'm going to scan my item into this damaged tab. And this time I'm going to select the option to declare it damaged, update item only. And when I say okay, the item is been updated to damage. I've got my updated circulation status. But if I look at the last use patron, there's no fee that's been added to their account. I do want to mention here real quick, I already scanned that one. If you scan in an item that has already been checked in and you select the option to charge and bill, it's going to apply that charge and issue the bill for the last use patron. Okay, so those are our options from check-in. We can apply the charge and bill the patron, or we can just update the circulation status. I'm going to go back to my slides here for a moment. Let's see. Come on. There we go. Jan, yeah.
Hi, Miyako. I have a question about the collection.
Okay.
If the item is the amount over the limit for collection, if you use declare loss or declare damage, would it send it back collection automatically, or you have to manually to do it?
I love that you're asking this because it gives a segue right into our next slide.
Oh,
So, I swear we did not set this up together. So the fees applied using declare damage will automatically apply for collection submission. So it applies the fee as that replacement cost. So if you are a collections library, right, there's nothing special that you need to do with these fees. They automatically qualify. The second thing I want to note is that adopting this functionality would free up that our current damaged circ status. So I don't know if you remember back in so in Polaris, right, there's a set amount of circulation statuses that we have. And our current circulation status, if you were here in 2018 when we were first, or 2019 when we were first figuring this out, you may remember that we took the circulation status for bindery and we made that into the damaged status. And then we haven't been able to move on demand for other circ statuses because the statuses are finite and we're at our limit. And one request that we've gotten pretty consistently over the years is for a display status. So like mentioned earlier, this functionality comes with a new dedicated status, which means we would no longer need our current status and we could update it to something, use it for something else, basically. And then the other thing I want to mention in terms of reports, what's available in web reports would not change. So if a report includes damaged item information, it would continue to do so. What's really nice here from a reporting side is that it's just a matter of changing the status ID that's included with the report. I've got a vote here for display status. So the decision we need to make today is if we are going to adopt this new functionality in place of the current way of making things damaged. Again, this functionality may not apply to all libraries. Some libraries use a damage status. Other libraries prefer to mark these types of items as lost, and that's okay. You can continue to mark items as lost. But we need to agree that we can retire the old circulation status and transition items with the old status ID to the new status ID. So the Circ ILL advisory group discussed this at their December meeting, and they're recommending to adapt this functionality to Circ Tech. So again, our job is to decide if we want to use this new functionality, if you are setting an item to damaged. If we do not decide to adapt and are using both the current and the new, we need to just kind of manage those two separate circulation statuses. So I'm going to stop talking now and open this up for any additional questions or discussion.
Donna asked in chat if there's a special item note inserted, will pop-up appear when the item is checked in.
The really nice thing is that when you declare something damaged, it's automatically going to apply that system block to the item record. So if the item does happen to come back to you and is checked in, that block will pop up.
Got a lot of questions in chat. Carrie says we're a library that uses, Carrie from DUK, not Carrie Library. We're a library that uses damage very sparingly. If we adopt staff who use it for selection purposes, would it just need to use something else like unavailable, correct? I stumbled a little bit, so you might have to read
No, that's
that over.
okay. I'm having Friday brain, Carrie. I'm sorry, I'm trying to wrap my mind around.
No, that's understandable for sure. Me too. So we have just a handful of staff that use damage, but I think they use it strictly for selection purposes so that they can address it whenever they do repurchases. If damaged is getting removed from a circ status and getting replaced with display, they would just need to use a different circ status to kind of flag it for their personal use, right?
Oh, gotcha. So like they're changing right now, they're changing things to damage. It might not necessarily be damage, just their own visual.
I think it's their personal stepping stone to
Gotcha.
mark it as lost. And I
Gotcha.
just, if we adopt it, I want to make sure I tell those folks like it's disappearing. But that would be the case, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
they can definitely use like, I don't know if in repair, unavailable would work for them, or if they wanted to use the check-in and just use like the update status only option, they could still
Right.
have access to that damage.
And then that's not charging anybody. Okay, awesome.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we have Cheryl from Carrie saying, will we still be able to change a lost item to damaged, or will that go away?
You could, the workflow for that would be you would need to check in the lost item, and then you could use that check-in to update it to damaged. I am going to just give everyone a moment to think of any more questions, or if you want to put out some comments. I am going to pop the link in for training into the chat in case anyone wants to like get into training right now and test things out.
We do have another question here in chat. It's what would be best practice for damaged items from other CCS libraries returned to our library? We have been only using declared lost when billing patrons for these items.
You could use declared damaged. I mean, I guess follow your local procedure still, right? If you want to use declared damage for these intra-CCS items, you absolutely could. If you prefer to use lost, you could still do that. So curious on hearing your thoughts on the declared damage, the 7.5 workflow versus what we're currently using. Is this something for those libraries that do currently use the damaged status? Is the 7.5 function something you think you would want to adopt?
This is Karen from Glenview, and I think it's fabulous. We will make great use of it.
Yeah, this is Julie from Crystal Lake. We would be excited to get it too. We would definitely use it. And I'm happy for my adult services colleagues to get display.
Is this something the group would want to make a motion to adopt?
Yes.
Yes.
I think everyone's sleeping, but I'm saying yes.
Yes.
Okay, so who?
Yeah,
I'm gonna-
use lost, but I'll say yes too.
I'm gonna turn this over to Dana to call for a motion and a second. And then we'll start out with a voice vote. If things look divided, we'll take a roll call vote.
Okay, can I get a motion for this to go into action?
Yes, Julie Gibson, Crystal Lake. I would like to make the motion that we put this into action. Sorry, what would be the wording I need to use?
Yeah, same.
Yes.
I changed the wording around.
Oh, so I need to make a motion that we accept
say-
the declared damaged? Okay,
I second that. Karen Key from Glenview.
And I forgot to ask too, was this a motion and a second, or go around and ask everybody?
Motion second, and then we'll do a voice vote to see
I
if we have a
second-
majority. If it's split, then we'll go around, but we'll start with a voice vote. We'll say just all in favor, either say aye or please put it in the chat.
Okay, all in favor, say aye or put it in the
Aye.
chat.
Aye.
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 Lots of ayes. Any opposing? Gregory, that's funny. Okay, looks like it passes.
Fantastic. So the next steps for this damaged functionality, we're not going to be able to put it into effect until we upgrade production at the end of February. So that will give us time to then work out a plan for transitioning items currently in damage status to align with the new damage status. We already have confirmation from Innovative. They are able to make that change for us, and then get reports updated. Once I have confirmation about like our start date, if it's going to be like day 1 when we upgrade to 7.5, or if it'll be like day 2 or day 3 after, I will publicize a start date with the circulation listserv and in the newsletter. Right.
Okay, then, sorry, I also have Friday brain. Is the revisions to damage procedures next, or was that tied in?
Yes,
Okay.
it
So
is
next
next.
revisions to damage procedures.
So it is tied in to, let's see here. Okay. So it is tied into our previous motion. If the last motion didn't pass, we would not have been talking about this. But since we approved the use of the damaged functionality, it also means that we need to revise our damage procedures since there are references to the old methods. So I sent a link to some drafted revisions to the listserv. If you've looked at them, you will also find that the procedures themselves have not changed. The direction on like when to apply local procedure or when to work with another library. So like that the procedure chart, like expectations in those situations, like none of that has changed. What did change is that we separated the how-to from the procedures. So instead of including like a step-by-step in the how-to procedures, it instead links staff to the relevant how-to when available. And the intent with this is that it gives us space to address new LEAP functionality without needing to revise procedures. And also gives more space for libraries to determine like what functions or actions to use in a situation. Like, so for example, like, do you change to lost, or do you decide to declare lost from the patron's record, or do you have a sorter and you need to use declare damage from check-in, right? So this hopefully allows for more flexibility in local workflow as well. In addition, there was some clarifying language added based on recent feedback. So the summary of the clarifying language that was added in the summary section, we're just clarifying that blocks and blocking notes can be added to local and reciprocal patrons as per the circulation manual. In the note about fees section, it's just referencing the governing board policy. And in the note about fee section, it's also clarifying the application of processing fees. So hopefully everyone had a chance to look through that. I want to pause for questions or discussion on those revisions.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
So I read that, I will admit, I read this morning I probably could have been much more thorough about this, so if I'm asking something that's ridiculous, please forgive me. Am I correct in understanding that in the damage procedures, there's like a section on what to do if you receive damaged items through rails bins? And I don't see that in this bit.
That's a separate how-to page.
That's a separate, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
We have a
I
page.
will,
Oh, sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, then I will ask my question over help instead of here. Okay, thank you.
Giving an opportunity for any other questions or comments. Or is the group ready right away to make a motion to adopt or accept these revisions?
Okay. Should we take the silence as a motion to adopt the revisions?
Yeah, let's try it.
Okay, can we get a motion to adopt the revisions?
Julie
Tori
Gibson,
will.
Crystal Lake, oh,
I'll second. Tori can second.
oh, hi, Tori.
Aye.
Right, and I'll motion that we adopt these revisions.
And Tori will second that motion.
Perfect.
Thank you, Julie and Tori. Should we go to
We'll
a
do-
voice vote?
Yeah.
Okay, and so all in favor for the revisions to be, now I already forgot it, yay Friday. For the revisions to be, or, oh my gosh. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed for these revisions? Say nay, or put in the chat. Okay, looks like the revisions are accepted.
Right, so these will also go into effect when we get the 7.5 upgrade. So the changes won't be published until the end of February. Cool. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm like personally, I am pretty excited for the new functionality, and I hope it works out well for everyone who uses it.
Okay, if we don't have any more questions for that, we'll move on to LEAP setting tips with Mieko.
Yay. In the agenda, so I encourage everyone to use this. In the agenda submission form, there is a place where you can put suggestions for demos or CE that you would like to see at these tech group meetings. And I got a really excellent suggestion for just some tips for making it easier to use the, or I guess customize or make the Find tool and LEAP kind of more your own. So I'm going to review some user level settings. So these are all unique to you. It will not impact your colleagues in any way. So you can make these changes for yourself. I'm going to go back into share my screen and go back into LEAP. So the first things I want to show you are tied to the LEAP Find tool. And this is all kind of like about the LEAP configuration. Some of you may notice this might be brand new news for others. So I hope you get something out of what I'm going to show you. So first of all, when you open the Find tool, you're always going to have a default record type that it opens to. You can set your own default record type. So when you open this list of different records, you'll see that one has a highlighted star. That is your default record type. So you can set it to whatever record type you search the most just by selecting the star next to that record type and clicking Save. So now whenever you open up the Find tool, it's going to default right to your preferred record type. You are also able to set up your or configure your search setup. And you can do this for each record type too. So this setup here, I'm searching for patron records by name, and it's doing a keyword search. Excuse me. This is my default search setup when I'm looking at patron records. And I know it's my default because this little star at the end of the search bar is highlighted yellow or gold, whatever. Now, let's say I love to search patrons by, I don't know, we'll say barcode. If I always want my patron find tool to default to a barcode search, I can configure my search up top, click the star, and save it, right? See, now it's highlighted. So now let me close out and go back in. So now anytime I open up a patron record search, it's going to default to a barcode search, right? So you can configure your default record and configure your record search setup based on whatever search type you do the most. And another thing here, earlier when we were looking at that record cleanup, I mentioned that you can use the Leap Find tool, and you can, use the Leap Find tool, look at your results list and see the patron's code right away. Your Find tool columns may look a little different than mine because everyone is able to configure their column settings within the Find tool. And you will find these settings at the very end of the search bar under this little 3-line hamburger menu. If you click to expand, you'll see this option called column settings. I'm going to click to open that. And here, and you can do this for every record type in the Find tool. So you can do it like for patron records, item records, bib records, hold request records. You will see the list of record fields that are options for your Find tool display. So if you want to save patron code in that results list and it's not already selected, you can just click that checkbox, save your changes, and it will apply. So let's say I want to add parent guardian to my list for those users who are under 18. That's going to add it to my Find tool configuration. I can also configure, I'm just going to take out, let's say, I'm going to take out state and zip. I don't need to see that information in my Find tool. I can also reorder the columns if I want to. So for example, if I want the library field to appear first, left to right, in my column configuration, I will just highlight that field and select move up, move down, and it will adjust. One additional thing you can do here is change the width of each column. So let's say I think my name column on my Find tool display is a little narrow. I want to give it more space so I see the patron's full name. You can configure the width of basically each value here. I'm going to highlight name. And you see here we've got a handful of settings for that field. One setting is width, and this is the width in characters. So let's say I want to give it a little more room. I want it to display up to 25 characters in my Find tool. So I could just adjust that up, adjust that down. It may take some trial and error to kind of get it right. But once I save my changes, you'll see here I've got that extra space in my Find tool. I now see the reordering of fields. So I've got my library displaying first, and the barcode, and the name, and others. And I also have my parent guardian option in there as well. So just a few little tips that you can do to make the Find tool kind of work for you. Question, are these settings by login or browser? They are by login. Okay. And then I'll also say too, if you've like made your changes and don't like them, I'm going to go back into my column settings here. Nope, that's not where oh, yes, there is. There is like a little revert button in your column settings if you just want to change it back to like the system defaults. And then it will update back to everything. So let me cancel out and go back in. So now you'll see my Find tool fields are back to the defaults. The other set of custom settings that I wanted to highlight is under your username menu. So here we're going to expand our username menu and go into the settings option. And the tab we're going to look at is this Workform User Defaults tab. So there's a few things here that may be of use or interest to you. The first one is this Workforms default view. So what this is saying is like when I open a check-in work form or when I open an item record, what view is it going to open to? So my default view when I open the check-in work form is to default right to this bulk check-in. If you are a staff member who prefers using normal check-in, you can absolutely select that tab or that option. And now when you open check-in, it's going to default right to normal view. Bye, Catherine. Same thing with item records. My item record view opens right to the details, but let's say I want to open to, or I'm sorry, I want to highlight the bib record. My bib record opens right to the preview view. But let's say I want it to open right to see the list of my local items. We can set that there. Whenever you open a bib record, it will open right to the list of your holdings. The other thing I want to highlight here are this Workform Tracker recent records. So the Workform Tracker is that little menu on the very left-hand side of the screen where it shows you a certain number of records that you recently had open that you can quickly jump back to if you want. I think the default is pretty low. I think the default is like 2. You can increase how many records it's going to retain. So let's say you want to see you want to have quick access to the last 10 patron records you accessed. You can set that here under the Workform Tracker recent records. I have not, let's see, in terms of like how many records will this do? I haven't increased it more than 10. I think you can get up pretty high there, but I haven't tested more than 10. And then the very final thing, this may be unique, helpful for just like a certain subset of staff members. If you are doing some kind of project where you're checking out like book club books or home services checkouts, and you are going to need to apply a custom due date for your like entire LEAP session, you can set this under your username settings in the special loan tab. And here you can select to apply a special loan to all checkouts in your current LEAP session. So if I say, give everyone a loan period of 48 days, from now until I log out of LEAP, it's automatically going to apply a 48-day checkout to anything I'm doing. So this is why I say, like, you know, it may only apply to some staff if they work with like those school cards, book clubs, that sort of thing. But this might save you some time if you're working with a whole bunch of different patron accounts. You don't always have to modify that due date account by account by account. So those were just a few Find tool and work form setting tips that I wanted to share with you. And I've got a question. What's the difference between normal and bulk? Normal, so I think everyone is most familiar with the bulk check-in. It's kind of like that, the standard check-in. Normal check-in forces you to manage any fees or fines before you can continue with the check-in. So it like forces you to stop and say like, yes, I'm going to charge the patron this fee before you're able to like keep checking things in or before you close out your check-in session. I think now that most of us are fine free, you may not see as much of a difference between normal and bulk check-in. But I think the of its recommendation, because libraries can absolutely do what they want. But the overall preference is to check things in bulk just because it's more streamlined. I'm glad that helps. If this can help make your lives just a little bit easier, I will have done my job. So yes. So always learning little new things about the Leap Find tool there. And I will turn it back.
Okay, I agree with everyone too that I didn't know about the increasing the recent records. That's going to be really helpful. So we're on to the added portion. So we'll start with Donna with the delivery from Rails.
Okay, this morning we received our Rails bins, 12 of them, 6 of which were soaking wet. We were able to save most of the materials and wipe them down, but I just wanted to let there's 3 or 4 items that are going back to the home library because they were damaged because the Rails bins were wet. So we have placed notes on the Rails tickets to let the home library know that we're not giving it to our member. We're sending it back to let you know that they were damaged wet from the Rails bins and not from a patron. And that, so that's, I just wanted everybody to know that. I don't know if anyone else received Rails bins that were soaking wet or wet at all, but there were 6 out of the 12 bins had water all over them. So we had to wipe down the bins and then the items inside. But like I said, there was a few that got really wet, the items. So I just wanted to give everyone a heads up that if they get it back, that's why.
Donna, do you know if any of those items were from Displays by any chance?
I don't think so. I think one was Park Ridge, and I think 2 were Prospect Heights, and then one was ours. So, but it was
I was just
like,
gonna say if any are ours, we don't. You can throw them away and just tell us the barcode because
okay,
if anything's
okay.
wet, we will not like put it back in the collection or do anything like.
Okay,
And
okay,
it's probably just easier for you too if you didn't have to, you know, I don't know if you're having to put them in
Send 'em
plastic
back.
bags or what kind of
yeah. No,
yucky.
some of them with the hardcovers, it wiped off and it didn't get to the pages, but
That's good.
some of them, the other couple ones, they were highly damaged. So
That stinks. Thank
Yeah.
you.
We have reached out to Rails
Okay.
about it, so with pictures and a video of what it looked like. So that's all I had.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next topic, which was Karen from Glenview and everyone's favorite topic on procedures and policies for bugs.
Yeah, the creepy crawlies, right? So I just wondered, does anybody have anything, a guideline even, doesn't have to be policy, that they use should this ever happen to them? We have, we just need to create something for us and we have nothing. So I'm trying to understand what everybody else has done, so.
Well, we do now. I have a lot of resources too from other libraries that I was using when we were going through that earlier or last year.
Yeah.
So I can send some of those to you if you're
Oh, that'd
interested.
be fabulous.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
And then we have a policy at Crystal Lake because we're through an incident with bed bugs. And actually Algonquin Library helped us a lot, but I can send that to you also.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
That would probably be good to send to the whole group
Yes.
if we could.
Yep, that would be
Because sooner
good.
or later, you know.
We're all gonna get struck by those, right?
Unfortunately.
We're all gonna get bitten. Oh, there you go.
At Des Plaines, we have the same thing where we had an issue with bed bugs and we created one, so we can send that too. And for anyone who hasn't dealt with it yet, you know, we're all kind of on the front lines being in circulation. And I will say that none of our staff or anything have gone home with them, and they've had some pretty hairy situations. So it's scary, but you know,
I guess the
it
thing is
sounds
that
scarier.
awareness
maybe.
of what I would even do if it happened, like you have to quarantine. I mean, that's why I need people to help me. So thank you, all of you that could send something. That'd be great. That was it.
Yeah. Oh, Donna said we haven't had any bugs other than ants. And we place the ant item into a freezer bag. Yeah, that's kind of similar to what we have too.
Yeah,
and
it
then we
was
give it to our
TBD. It
maintenance.
was really gross.
So anyone have any last minute topics to add? Oh, Cheryl Carey says, I put a block on our items when we will not take them back after being too long lost. Yet other libraries still checked item in and sent back to us.
So my recommendation for that is for the like if the library does not want these items back, to mark those records as deleted. The charge will remain on the patron's account. And then if an item is returned and checked in, they'll get a like record not found message.
Okay, anything else? I'll pause for a minute because I know I go fast sometimes. Donna said our policy is item must be returned 3 months from last reminder notice date. Okay, going once, going twice. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I
Everybody wants to
motion
say.
to adjourn, Karen at Fremont.
Okay, Karen, thank you.
You seconds it.
I'm sorry, I talked over the second. Who seconded?
Oh, I'm sorry. Karen Key at Glenview
Oh.
second.
Thank you both, Karens. And so, meeting is adjourned at 10:45 a.m. Thank you, everybody.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.